Yep. Game is still going on here. And yeah, earlier today the Guardians beat the Yankees 4-2 in 10 innings, and that series is tied 1-1. And now it's the seventh inning with the Phillies leading the Braves 6-1. Yep, what Joe Davis said earlier. Teams that take a 2-games-to-none lead. I mean, with the series tied 1-1, the teams that win Game 3 win 70% of the time, and when a team goes up 2-zip, they win 90%. And so, yeah, the Astros have a 90% chance of beating the Mariners in their division series. And, well, we'll just wait and see what happens. Because if the Phillies win tonight, the way it's looking, the Phillies have a 70% chance to knock off the defending world champions. And, yeah, we have the Dodger-Padre game a little bit later. And let's just hope that the Dodgers win this one. But this is why you should never count your chickens before they hatch. Yeah, that's true. But now I came up with the new generation theory, the 18-year theory, which I think is more reasonable than on my previous video. Because, well, there were a few other generations in the 19th century that I found. Yeah, I mean, yeah. 1838 through 1855 is the Civil War generation. 1856 to 1873 is the missionary generation. 1874 to 1891 is the Ellis Island generation. 1892 to 1909 is the Hard Timers. Of course, none of those members of those generations are alive anymore, so we still have a few members of the greatest generation that are still alive, meaning that they were born from 1910 to 1927. I think it was originally at 1901 because it was the start of the 20th century. And, of course, the hard time generation is also part of the lost generation as well, or the interbellum. And Ellis Island is part of missionary and the lost. But, yeah, it's kind of strange, but I think it works. But it's smooth sailing, but it takes into account saying that the greatest generation was born starting at 1910, because they would have still been under age 30 when the World War II started in 1939, and they were under 20 when the Great Depression started, and the last of them were born in 1927 because they were 18 years old when World War II ended. And yes, in 1945, and they were the last to come of age before the war ended. So that means they were able to fight in World War II. And the Silents were born from 1928 to 1945, meaning that they were all under the age of 18 when World War II ended, so from birth to 17. So it started in 28 because they would have been under 18 when World War II ended in 45. And silent ended in 45 because they were the last to be born during World War II, before the baby boom. So this is according to Reddit, because it's very interesting. It's easier than Wikipedia. And also the baby boomers, it was from 46 to 64, but it's 46 to 63 because that's because of the first full year, birth year after World War II, the start of the post-war baby boom. And it ended in 63 because they were the last to come of age before MTV came out in 81. So, yep, they were born a year after World War II ended, when the soldiers returned to start families. And yeah, so that means they graduated high school when MTV made its debut. Yeah, baby boomers. So Generation X actually starts in 64 because they were the first to come of age after MTV came out in 81. And yes, they started their senior year of high school when MTV debuted. And 81, I think, should be more of a reasonable ending birth year because they were all 18 by Y2K. And it ended in 81 because they were the last to come of age before Y2K. And of course, now we go to the Millennial Generation from 82 to 99. All were 17 and under on Y2K. And yes, it starts at 82 because they came of age after Y2K, and ended in 99 because they were the last to be born before Y2K. And then, of course, millennials are also known as Generation Y, and then Z. You have the plurals or the Zoomers or whatever, or iGen or Homeland. And it started in 2000 because they were the first to be born after Y2K. And it ended in 17 because, in my opinion, they were like the youngest to have any memories of COVID-19, or they were just starting, or the youngest to have any memory of COVID. But yeah, also there's another interesting thing about Gen X and Y. It's because the late Gen Xers born from 76 through 81 had some millennial influences. And of course, 1982 through 87, so those are the late Gen Xers right there. The early millennials were born from 82 to 87, so that means they had Gen X influences. And 88 through 93, of course, are the core millennials that have no influence of X or Y. 1994 through 1999 are the later millennials with Generation Z influences. And then from 2000 to 2005 are the early Zoomers that had millennial influences. And 06 to 11, they're core Z. So I think these generations work. Meanwhile, I hope you have a good rest of your Friday. And let's just hope that the Dodgers come back later on today. And yeah, all right. I'll catch you later.